Okay. Stay with me. Imagine it's 1926, 100 years ago. You wake up, and suddenly you've got to know what the composition of a star is. No? Just happens to me? I'm sat there. Oh, I wonder what a star's made of. Happens a lot, more often than I would like to think. Perhaps not stars. Perhaps you're more interested in the intricacies of the legal system of ancient Rome. 100 years ago, if you were lucky and you had a lot of time, you might have been able to go and find that information in a book somewhere. But it would be more likely that you would have searched out a university. You would have gone to the appropriate academic department. You'd have searched down a professor who was an expert in the field who could answer your questions. Now we're back to 2026, right now. That same information is in your pocket. It's on the bus. It's in the gymnasium. And having looked at a lot of you, it's in your hand right now. Your phone, the smartphone. And I'm sorry, but I now need to know what the composition of a star is. Okay, what have we got here? MIT, NASA. NASA should know, so click on that, and that's, there you go, hydrogen and helium. Who knew, right? 10 seconds. Got the information in 10 seconds. For centuries, universities have been the guardians of knowledge, gatekeepers, granting access to people who perhaps had the time or could afford it. But the internet has ripped those gates down. Those walls are gone. Information is available to everybody. And so, if universities are no longer the home of knowledge, we should perhaps ask ourselves, what is the role of a university in the modern world? Some universities are going through a bit of an identity crisis right now. They've become quite expensive credentialing centers. Students come, they put years of their life in, lots of hard work, lots of effort, thousands of dollars, and at the end of their program, out pops a piece of paper that hopefully would allow them to get a good job. And preferably, that job should pay enough so that they can pay off their student loan. The world is moving very, very fast. So fast that it's actually sometimes difficult for university syllabus and curricula to keep up. For example, first-year student goes to university, and by the end of their Introduction to AI course, the technology that they've just learned about is already out of date. So if we're not careful, universities could be teaching 21st century learners with 20th century methods in 19th century buildings. And we've got to think about the fact that the university could become a silo, could be isolated from the community, could be isolated from industry, and as a worst case scenario, could be isolated from reality. So for universities to remain relevant, we probably need to stop thinking about them as vaults of knowledge and start thinking about them a little bit more as impact hubs. And I've come up with a few pillars, 3, that I believe modern universities need to think about and build around if they're going to make a successful and positive contribution. So the first one is what I call the compass. We live in a world of information. It's everywhere. Data is the new gold. Okay? We don't need more facts. We need discernment. Professors don't need to be lecturers anymore. What they really need to be is facilitators and guides along the learning journey. Teaching our students to be able to filter out the noise, to learn to ask the right questions, and the most important thing of all, learn how to learn. The second one, the laboratory. So, from the university's perspective, we want to ensure that we are doing what is right for our students. It's ironic, actually, that I am stood here up on a stage, because I am here to tell you that in the university perspective and context, the sage on the stage is dead. What we now need is the guide on the side. Programs should look less like a series of exams and tests. They need to look more like a series of built projects. Universities should be putting philosophy students and engineering students together in classes so that they can learn from each other and explore topics like the ethics of biotechnology. Learning should be hands-on from day one, and it should be work-integrated learning. And the third one, my personal favorite, the public square. Universities should be porous. They shouldn't be behind gates and behind tall walls. They should be an anchor for their community, for their city, for their region. They should be places where academics, business, perhaps retired experts, and 19-year-old dreamers come together so that they can collectively consider challenges and come up with innovative solutions. University shouldn't be somewhere where you go to for 2, 3, 4 years. It should be a platform that you plug into for a lifetime. And that brings me to my final and probably most controversial point. We need to get rid of graduation. The idea that people are done learning when they're 22, 23, or 24 doesn't meet the 21st century learner need. Just think if your tuition didn't just cover one program, but it was a lifetime subscription to knowledge. You finish your program at university, you go out, you work for 5 years, and then you come back because you want to do a 3-month pivot course because your industry has changed. The technology has moved on. You need to upskill. The university becomes the heartbeat of your professional life, rather than nostalgic memories of student parties and heavy textbooks. And in the world of artificial intelligence, some things are really hard to emulate. The three I always think about are empathy, deep collaboration, and moral courage. Universities need to focus a little bit less on building better workers and focus a little bit more on building better people. We should be teaching that it's possible to disagree without hating each other. That diversity is a strength to be embraced rather than something to be feared. And that a university is a space where it is safe to fail so you can succeed bravely. So the role of a university in the 21st century is absolutely crucial. They are catalysts. They are catalysts of change. They are drivers of innovation. And what we now need to do is we now need to stop asking our students, what subject do you want to major in? And we need to start asking them, What are the problems you want to solve? Thank you.